So, good evening, and welcome again to Fan Comments on Cannon Fodder TV. This time, there's a slight twist. You might see the little icon figure there. I've got Richard from Arsenal TV. So, Richard, welcome again back on Cannon Fodder TV. You're making a habit of it now, aren't you?
I am. I sure am.
Listen, it's
good to interact with some of the fans as well. So
yeah,
I like it.
That's the Arsenal way. Just like family, you know what I mean? Just come together and we come together and go forward together as well.
We've been doing it quite a lot just recently.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, because it's been good, just bouncing off ideas and what have you. So, as you know, we go through the comments that, the subscribers or maybe people have just been passing by the channel and they put like comments, and I'm going to go through some of the comments. And as well, if you're just passing by, I didn't leave Richard's link for his channel in the comments box, but as soon as we've done and dusted with this, I would definitely put it in the comments box, Richard. Sorry about that, mate.
That's cool.
So yeah, and again, if you're passing by, make sure you subscribe not only to Cannon Fodder, but make sure you subscribe to Richard's channel as well. Right. So the first lot of comments we have for this week, there's only a few here actually. I've got, just give me a second. Sorry, Richard. We have, right. This was in regards to James Rodriguez. Now, you might know TC from I'm Gonna Talk, and he did an upload last week, and he's talking about James Rodriguez. And apparently Arsenal have been linked not only to all those other plethora of players, but also to James Rodriguez. Richard, James Rodriguez, would he fit into Arsenal, to the Arsenal way of playing football?
I don't know, because I know we're playing a really high pressing style with Unai Emery at the moment, and it's completely different to the way Wenger was. If James Rodriguez came into Arsenal under Arsene Wenger, then I would probably say yes, he would fit in. But under Unai Emery, I just can't see it. I just can't see if he would fit in. Maybe someone the likes of Perisic, who we've also been linked with. Yeah, I think he would fit into our system quite well. But James Rodriguez, I don't know, maybe of his attacking style, but defensively and his pressing game, I just can't see it.
Yeah. But I mean, if I spoke to my wife about this, if he was to come to Arsenal, I know there's a small community of Colombians in North London, so he'd be welcomed. You know what I mean? But would he fit into Arsenal? I know he's not been playing. Apparently, he hasn't played since November.
Exactly. So that's why I'm looking at it and thinking I just can't see it, because I don't know. I just think it's just a rumor, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one out of the way, and then we go into some comments from yourself, Richard. Actually, before I get into that one, there's one from Luca Quarta, who says, "I can't believe I'm embarrassed myself. When Lingard scored, I cried." So he's talking about the match against Manchester United there.
Yeah.
And before we came on live, Richard and myself, we were talking about that match, and I said to Richard that I couldn't believe the amount of times that we were exposed at the back. Like just one simple ball through the midfield, and there again, it was 3-on-2. So I just wonder, does Unai Emery coach them? Not only in London Colney, but in the game management. At the beginning of the season, he was so fantastic at coaching them, organising them. But of late, we've been exposed so many times at the back. And that was one thing that really annoyed me. Another thing as well was Lingard doing the moonwalk after he scored. But Richard...
Do you know what? I was looking back at the game over on Saturday, watching the highlights, and we was exposed quite a lot through. We made Lukaku look good. That's the bad thing about it. We made him look good.
Yeah.
And then we let our own player who was at Arsenal, Alexis Sanchez, score a goal against us. What is Petr Cech doing coming out?
Yeah.
This is what I don't understand. I think the reason why Petr Cech had no choice but to come out because the defence let them through. And obviously obviously Petr Cech was like, okay, now it's all down to me.
But Richard, just take it a few steps back. Personally, I wouldn't have played Cech.
No,
I wouldn't have played him.
No, exactly. When I done my preview for this game, for the Man United game, I said if you're going to beat the likes of Man United, you go for your full strongest 11.
Yeah.
I don't care if you play the young players. This is Man United we are talking about here. It's not like as if we're playing against Brentford, or it's not like as if we're playing against Blackpool. If it's a Man United, you play your strongest team because they're part of your rivals that's going to be fighting against you to get top 4. So you've got to go with your strongest lineup. I think my lineup for this game was Lino in goal. Then I had Ainsley Maitland-Niles at right back, obviously because of Bellerin not being fit to play. And I think my defence was Socrates and Koscielny, Klejnek at left back, and then I went with the Diamond 4.
Yeah.
I went with the Diamond 4. I went with Torreira, Xhaka, Guendouzi, and then Ramsey up top, and then Aubameyang and Lacazette up front. That was my formation that I went with, that I predicted. But I was quite surprised that he didn't go for Lino in goal and put Cech in. I think that was a bad mistake.
It turned to be quite costly because not only did he go down a bit too soft for the Lacazette goal, in my opinion. I mean, the Lingard goal, his positioning was absolutely terrible. It was terrible. I just don't understand, I don't want to criticise him because I still trust in Emery. It's just like 7-8 months in the job. But personally, I would not have played Petr Cech.
No, even I said that we should not have played Cech in that game. Because, you know what Man United are going to be like. They're going to attack us on the front foot straight away. And the goalkeeper is going to have a bit of work to do. And this is why I think that Lino was the best person to be put in because of his work rate when he's in goal. He's pulled up some really, really good saves for us this season that's kept us in the game and saved our arse a few times as well. And not just that, Lino is better with his feet than Cech is. Yeah. So that's why I would have personally gone with Lino for that game and not Cech. But at the end of the day, I trust Unai Emery with the selection that he's going with. But he just needs to manage the team just that little bit better because Torreira now, he looked shattered when he came off for that Man United game. Yeah, this is now where I think that we should rest him for Cardiff and let him stay on the bench and bring him on in the last, say, 25 minutes of the game.
The problem is we don't have any players like his ilk. Like I said, I think for me, the season is starting to take effect on him. He's only 21, 22.
He's 22 years old, and it's his first season.
It's a big ask for him, and as much as I love the guy, I want to play a match in, match out. Yeah, he needs the rest. He does need the rest,
Definitely.
And just getting on to that, just getting on your comment actually that you made on the channel in regards to the defeat at the hands of Manchester United. You say, I can't remember what I actually said to you, but you said exactly our defense problems may have just got worse because now Socrates could have a twisted ankle, which we now know that he has. Yeah. Which he might not be available on Tuesday, and Koscielny might have a jaw problem. So as far as I know, in regards to Koscielny, he only has bruising. It's not a broken jaw or a broken cheekbone. It's only bruising inside his mouth area. More on a serious note, so Socrates, as we know, he's out until the end of February. So Socrates for me has been the best defender this season so far. I mean, I know we haven't had Holding. He's out again long term until the end of the season. But for me, Socrates has been the best rugged defender that we've been missing for many a season there, But he's going to be a bigger miss than Koscielny. Like I said before we came on live.
As I've said to you on the previous show, I've actually said that Socrates should be our captain. And I think now people are now finally seeing the reason why that I've said that Socrates should be the captain. He's been our most consistent defender this season, apart from obviously Rob Holding getting injured. But it seems to me that all the communication that's coming from that back line is coming from Socrates. Not Koscielny or or Koleżnik or Bellerin. It's mainly coming from Socrates. So this is why I think that Emery should say, look, I know I've picked 5 captains, but the 5 people that he's picked for captain, 3 of them are going. So this is where now the Emery needs to say, he needs to look back and say, look, if all the communication is coming from you, then there's the armband. Now go and lead that team. But I agree with Terry when he said that we need someone like the likes of Keown to come in and to drill these defenders. And I agree 100% because it seems to me that these defenders are still not learning.
But you know what? Someone told me a very good anecdote, but a phrase that you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Emery is trying to do. These dogs, you can't teach them. Sorry, not dogs, but these players. You can't teach them anything different because they're just stuck. They're stuck in their ways. So the best thing that he can do, just pray for the season to finish and bring in his own players. But we know, Richard, the problem is we can only bring in players on loan deals.
I know,
there's money there, we can't spend the money. So it's so frustrating. It's so freaking frustrating to be stuck in that situation. And I'm sure, Richard, Emery feels the same way. He must be so frustrated to know he can't buy any players. He can't bring in his own players. He's stuck with Wenger's leftovers there. It must be so frustrating.
Exactly, but you've got to realise these players have been drilled for the last 22 years of Wenger's philosophy and what Arsene Wenger wanted. But Emery's like, well, you need to go by now what I want. But maybe where the players have been so caught up for the last 22 years, it's going to take time. But I don't like it when the fans are now saying they want Unai Emery out the door.
Ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous. You've got to realise he's been here for 8 months. He done a 22-game unbeaten run in his first season, not done by any other manager so far. Also, some of these players that are at Arsenal are all Arsene Wenger's players. So he hasn't really put a stamp on the club, say, look, this is my Arsenal now. He's still got Arsene Wenger's players. And I think the best thing that's come out of Arsene Wenger before he left was bringing in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Yeah. Well, and Lacazette as well.
And Lacazette as well, yeah.
Yeah. Right, so just a couple more comments and then I'm going to go into the chat. So we've got a comment here where I've made a comment to Apollo from Arsenal 101. I'd say to him, you know, I'm not mad or angry, really. As you say, we've got what we really deserve. What amazed me was the way we were trying to walk the ball into the goal when it required direct play. So what I was actually referring to was there was many times when Alex Iwobi was trying to play outside of Young, and Young was so wise to him. I was thinking, Iwobi, just change it up, try and come inside and go direct. Go direct. The too many times we were trying to play little, you know, intricate plays, and it just wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. But
do you know what Alex Iwobi's problem is? It's the end product. That's what's the problem with him. Yeah. I think if Alex Iwobi gets the end product right, he would be lethal. He'd be an absolute star. He would be absolutely brilliant. But I think that is the only problem with him is just that end product. And I was thinking the same thing. Is that when I was watching him going out wide, I was thinking, look, go out wide once, and then trick him the next time. Come inside. So these guys, and then Young's gonna think, what the hell's going on here? But again, you know, I don't want But then Iwobi didn't. He just stuck to what he wanted to do.
The thing is, you know, I don't want to put too much on Emery. Couldn't Emery see that? Couldn't he just tell Aubameyang and Iwobi switch over, just try and confuse the defenders rather than trying to do the same thing. Couldn't Emery have told him that? Well, obviously.
To be honest, Al, listen, we don't know what goes on inside the dressing room at halftime or anything like that, but I know one thing. When Arsene Wenger used to go in at halftime, he never used to talk to the players.
Yeah.
It was mainly the assistant manager that was talking to him. He would go in his office and talk to, whoever he was talking to in there. But this is where I think Emery is saying stuff in the dressing room, not like Arsene Wenger was, but
yeah.
But the players need to keep that in mind and go out there and pull it onto the field. And if they're clearly not doing it, then they clearly wasn't listening to Emery's instructions properly.
Okay, right. So Apollo, he responds and he says to me, Solskjaer, surely he's no tactical mastermind or super coach, but he managed to take the shackles off the United team and make them enjoy playing again. It reminded me of how Arsenal was early back in the day. I don't know.
That's a good point, actually.
It is a very good point.
It's quite a good point.
So let me quickly go into the chat. I see there's some comments in the chat, and we have Bar Ibrahim, and he says, "Hey, how are you guys?" And he says, "It's the coach." And then we have Mube Guna. He says, "Boys, what's going on?" And Richard, he has a question for you, actually.
Okay.
Mube says, "My question is, what you think about giving the young players like Medley and Mavropanos a big chance? Not just a game here and there, but benching these players that keep making the same mistakes over and over again."
Do you know what? I agree. I was talking to Terry earlier, and I said this would be a good chance to give Mavropanos a chance in the starting 11 until Socrates comes back and see what he can do. Because after Cardiff, we've got Man City away. So it's going to be very, very tough in the next couple of games. So I would personally go and give Medley and Mavropanos a chance, because it's better than putting Granit Xhaka at centre-back, because clearly Granit Xhaka can't do the job there. He's a midfielder. So, yeah, I would give Mavropanos and Medley a chance, definitely.
Yeah. But, I've always wondered, why has he not done it? I mean, I know Smith Rowe featured early in the season in the Europa League Cup matches there. But surely now Emery has to see the light and say, you know what, now's the time to blood in his youngsters. The other thing is, I'm thinking maybe he's probably a little bit scared, because he's thinking now it's so tight for that fourth position. If he does play the youth players and we don't make top four, the blame is going to go on his shoulders. But I want to see the young players.
Yeah,
I want to see the young players.
I do as well. And I agree. I just think that Emery is probably a bit scared to play him, because he knows top four is at stake to get into Champions League next season if Europa League doesn't go right. And he's thinking, well, if I bring them on and they don't do well, then all the fans are going to blame me for taking that risk. And you know what our fan base is like. They will blame him.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they're already asking for his head. They're always, already asking for him to be out.
But I just think that Emery needs to experiment with the team. He just needs to experiment with it, because we're low on defenders as it is. So until Koscielny or until Socrates is back, just give one of them a chance. I remember the game when Mavropanos came on against when he played against Man United last season. And do you know what? He actually done pretty well against Man United. So alongside Rob Holding. So I think I would give Mavropanos a chance. I would.
Yeah. It's time. All right, so quickly, just back in some more fan comments on the channel. And we've got one here from Aranav Ghosh. Again, he's a regular. He loves to put comments on the channel here. He says, disappointing, surely disappointing. But then I take a lot of positives. I'll tell you why. Oh, I know this is it's a long comment that he's put here on the channel. So just bear with me a second. One, he says, there isn't a single team in Europe who would win in such a situation. We lost two of our central defenders, and we're forced into making unwanted substitutions. Could Man City, Liverpool, or Barcelona? Maybe. Could they play? Could they play and win against respectable oppositions after losing 2 centre backs? What do you think about that? Do you think Liverpool could have beaten Man United? Do you think Man City could have beaten Man United if they lost 2 central defenders?
Do you know what? I don't think they probably would have won, but I actually think they probably would have held up for a draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be quite honest, because you got to realise your defence is the most important part of that back line to protect the goalkeeper from not conceding any goals. So I think Liverpool probably could, because they could probably win because they are attack minded.
Yeah.
And they're very good defensively in that midfield as well. So Man City, Man City's defense, I would say, isn't really that great. To be fair, it's not all that.
But then the firepower, they've got the players that can attack.
Exactly, they've got the firepower up front as well as the midfield that can also do the job. So Liverpool, yes, probably. Man City, no, because their defense is just as bad as ours.
Yeah, and then he makes a second point. He says, "You cannot expect Özil to play like Özil if he is on the bench for the last 30 days. Can anyone else do that?" We've spoken about Özil so many times on the channel. Arsenal played an open and bold game. I remember Pogba getting upset after losing possession from Maitland-Niles. I would only say that we have missed another opportunity to get in youngsters to play and experience big matches. Spot on. We need to play the youth players. Come on, Unai. If you're watching this video with Richard, Arsenal TV, and myself, you've got to play the youth players.
But Al, do you remember the comment that I said to you that I was saying about Özil when he came on? He didn't really do much to change the game, really, against Man United.
Yeah, there were a couple of comments as well. They're saying the same thing, that when he came on, he made zero impact on the game there.
Exactly. So
and I have to agree.
Maybe he would have done a bit more if he played the first 45 minutes, and maybe we might have created more chances. But you still had Alex Iwobi and you still had Aaron Ramsey. Aaron Ramsey actually did try.
Yeah.
So,
run his guts out. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. He literally ran his heart out. But I don't know. I reckon that Özil could be on his way out soon. I've just got that feeling he's going to leave.
No. Okay, there's some more comments here in the chat. And we've got Bar Ibrahim saying again, the Arsenal coach, he disappoints me completely. Bar Ibrahim, you have to remember, again, I'm going to say maybe for the 100th time, that Arsenal are in transition.
Yep.
We've just had a manager 22 years. So to ask a new manager to come in and change things instantly and completely, you're asking for miracles that are not going to happen overnight. You have to understand that we're still in transition. And like Richard has just said, the majority of the players or the squad are still Arsene Wenger players. They're not Unai Emery's squad of players. So you have to give him time. You have to give him time. Okay? And there's another comment here from Mube Guna. He said, it is a bad thing. I trust Mavropanos, so do I, Mube Guna, and Medley more than Mustafi. So do I, Mube Guna. It says a lot, really. Man is done. Him, Cos, has to go this summer. Time for new blood. That's just what we've just been saying, Mube Guna.
Yeah. I completely agree because I completely agree. It's because Laurent Koscielny's been way off the pace for a while now, and we know the whole circumstance with Mustafi. We know we can't trust him. We can't trust him whatsoever. 1 minute Mustafi has a good game, next minute he has a bad game, and then you think, look, make up your mind. You need to be more consistent, and then he's sliding into tackles that he doesn't even need to. It's just an absolute joke. We've got clowns in defence who can't piss up a brewery. That's exactly what it's like. I've had enough of this defence. This defence needs to change by summer. It needs to.
Oh, dear. Okay, let's go back into the fan comments. It's going to be the last few before we wrap up this segment. And we've got a comment here from Marble Halls TV. And he says, I think he's made a comment in regards to my post-match video. Again, Man United and Arsenal. He said they just had better tactics on the day. They also had better finishing, and our attacking play was weak. Yeah, you know, and I guess that was the other part of it. That when they had the opportunities, they took their opportunities, whereas we didn't. And do you think their tactics were better than ours on a day, Richard? Do you think their tactics were better than ours? I think, you know,
I just think that we didn't take our chances enough as we should have done. I don't think that Solskjaer out tactic Emery. I don't think he out tacted him. What I think it was that it was down to us. We didn't take our chances that we should have done. And again, look at Xhaka, the way he played. Do you see the abuse Xhaka got after the game?
I heard.
There's no need for that.
Yeah. Was he in his car with his wife?
Yeah, he was in his car, and his wife was in the car as well, and he got abused by the fans. There's no need for that.
Oh, dear. Do you think fans should be banned? You know, if they're caught abusing our players in that form outside the stadium, do you think that Arsenal should maybe hand out some, you know, short-term bans or life-term bans? Because it's bang out of order. Really?
It is. It's bang out of order towards the player because, okay, this is football. You've got to realise players are not going to be consistent every week, week in, week out. They are going to have bad patches. I've played football where one day I was playing all right and the next week I was just too tired because I put so much in that last match, I had to come off at half-time. So, yeah, you got to understand that players are not going to have every good game. It's down to the manager it's down to the manager for game management. He needs to say, right, you need to come off because you look tired, so I'll just bring you on at halftime for the next at halftime in the second half for the next game. It's all down to Emery. He needs to sort out the game management. What is the right time to take the players off? His substitutes during that 22 game unbeaten run was spot on. So why is he not doing it now? What, halfway through the season?
But Richard, again, I think that's a little bit unfair because we know the amount of injuries that we have. You know, it's not his fault. Yeah, I understand. No, it's not his fault because of the injuries that we've got. But this is where Emery needs to experiment with the team and stop playing the starting 11. And this is where the injuries are coming from because you're playing your strong starting 11 week in, week out. So there's bound to be injuries. All right, and there's one more here from, again, Marble Hall's TV. And it says, we as fans don't know the truth of matters. It could be anything holding things up. I think what he's talking about is probably because he's made a comment on the Ease Talk live stream that we did last week Friday. So I think he's talking about the transfers. Why we can't get the transfers over the line. But again, like we said on Friday, Arsenal have a history of, you know, just drawing things out. Whereas, look at Higuain. He played yesterday for Chelsea. He was mentioned less than 2 weeks ago that he's going to come to Chelsea, and they got him over the line, and he played yesterday. Arsenal just cannot do that. We love to draw things out. What pain.
Alex, you know what? I remember saying on my Chelsea preview, I said, now Chelsea are going to sign Higuain. Does that mean that Morata's out the door? Morata's gone.
He's gone. Yeah.
He's gone. So I was clearly right because I knew that when I just came out and just said, could that be that Morata's going? Because Morata hasn't been playing that great for Chelsea recently. Yeah. So I had the feeling that they'll probably get rid of him. But I think what it is, Arsenal are hanging around too much on just one player and they're just dragging and dragging and dragging when there's plenty of other players out there you could probably get for less amount of money or even just that little bit more. But we're just hanging on to that one player because we really want him. Listen, if he doesn't want to leave, that's it. Move on. Go and get the next one.
Yeah.
And now we're in talks again that Gary Cahill could be joining us.
Listen,
As I said to you, I don't believe these transfer rumours until I see the player outside the training ground with the top. I'm sorry,
yeah.
because I just don't believe it anymore.
Terrible. All right, so let's quickly go back into the chat before we wrap up this segment. So again, we've got Bar Ibrahim, and he says, the new coach there, I do not understand well.
But why?
Just give him time. That's the only thing you need to understand. Give him time. That's all. That's all.
This is what, Al, do you know what? This is the fans, they don't understand. We're at a rebuilding stage. Emery's got to rebuild this team from scratch. But how many times have we been told rebuild, rebuild, rebuild? Even when we was under Arsene Wenger, we was getting told rebuild, rebuild, rebuild.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just a little bit painful at the moment. But anyway, we'll play against Cardiff on Tuesday. What time's the kickoff? Is it 8 o'clock kickoff?
Yeah, 8 o'clock kickoff. Yeah.
Anyway. You know,
I haven't even done my preview for it yet. So because I've just been humming and ahhing about who to put in the defence for me to pick.
Yeah. It's going to be a challenge in itself. But anyhow, listen, Richard, I want to say thank you very much for coming on the segment of our fan comments. But guys, whoever's watching or maybe going to watch this at a later stage, you know, be prepared to see Richard a lot more often on Cannon Fodder TV. He's going to be helping me every Monday to go through the fan comments. You know, so yeah, Richard, you know, it's been a pleasure again having you back on the channel. You know, making it a habit of being on Cannon Fodder TV. But we love you, you know, to be on the channel. But anyone's watching, make sure you subscribe not only to Cannon Fodder TV, but you subscribe to Arsenal TV as well. Again,
yeah,
we're done here.
I've noticed ever since I've been coming on, my subscribers on my channel are slowly going up.
Well, that's what we want. That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. You know what I mean? The Arsenal community. Anyhow, this has been Cannon Fodder with fan comments featuring Richard from Arsenal TV, and we are out.